What is the difference between stress and pain? Right now, we have a world full of stress. All of our services that I can see around me seem to be stressed out. I'm working in a rehabilitation with addicts, and people cannot deal with the influx of need that we have. We physically can't cope with how many addicts there are who want to stop their addiction. A few weeks ago, I was in Nottingham with my mother-in-law. She had to go to A&E. We stayed there all night. That's not uncommon. But there was rows of hospital beds in corridors waiting to be seen by a doctor all night long. And it was almost like a train of beds, just where there was, and the room, the massive A&E room was packed out. I mean, the services cannot cope. Farmers are struggling. The suicide rate of farmers is high. Climate change. There's so many business struggling, and it's probably, from my understanding, going to get worse with AI and so on. So stress is being, kids are stressed, young people, exams like never before. So what is this stress, and what is the difference between stress and pain, and how do we deal with this? Just a simple analogy of the difference would be, if I broke my arm, I would be in pain. That's normal. But the stress that could be created by my broken arm could be horrendous. For one person, it could be, I'm going to lose my job. I can't provide for my family. I can't do the sport that I'm doing. I can't write. And there's so many things that will go wrong. My kids won't be able to go to the school I want them to go to. I can't pay for my mortgage. I'm going to lose my house. My wife's going to leave me. I'm going to become homeless, blah, blah, blah. So the pain is, I have a broken arm and I'm in pain. And the human being can deal with pain. But what the human being cannot deal with is the stress that's being created by thought because of the pain. So what I want to look at is how we can get rid of stress, because there is a grace to deal with the pain. I'm doing this video after a conversation again with my good friend and farmer, David Harper. And he asked me a few days ago, Roy, could you give some videos for the Top Barn family, which I know goes across the world? And not long after I put the phone down, or I hung up, the scripture came to me in Corinthians, 2 Corinthians chapter 10, verse 5. And it said, casting down imaginations and every high thing that exalts itself against the knowledge of God, and bringing into captivity every thought to the obedience of Christ. So I just want to unpack this scripture with a few videos and look at, what is this scripture saying? A very simple kickoff would be the word imagination. Casting down imaginations. What is imagination? And I talked on some of my previous videos before and explained that when we imagine something, there's a part of your brain that creates stress, especially if it's a toxic thought, a toxic imagination. that doesn't know time. So whatever you're imagining, and I mentioned guys in their prison cells that I would be working with, whatever they were imagining, they were experiencing there and then in that moment, because the brain thought the thing that they were worried about and fearful about was happening to them right now, and begins to pump adrenaline and so forth in their body, and that stress to get them out of trouble, when in reality they were perfectly safe, they're perfectly fine. So I want to look at, what does this scripture talk about when it's talking about imaginations? How do we deal with these imaginations? How do we take all of these thoughts captive? And what is the knowledge of God? And what is the obedience of Christ?